All right, hey, good evening. We are going to go live here to talk about duplication of benefits because so many people have asked questions and called the office and emailed the office asking for information about duplication of benefits. So I am going to just sit tight for a few minutes and let some people get on, but I'll say it again. We are going to be talking about duplication of benefits here in just a couple minutes. So if you have questions, you can go ahead and post those right below. Again, we're going to be talking about duplication of benefits only tonight. We'll do another Facebook Live this week where we'll cover anything y'all want, but just so this one doesn't go on too long, and because I know so many of y'all have questions about duplication of benefits, we're just going to cover that this evening. So again, if you have a question about duplication of benefits issue or the solution that we now have, please post it down below where it says write a comment, and we will go through y'all's questions and answer anything that you may have. All right, so this is a different configuration. Let's see. I actually, can you see if you can get the comments to show up on this one? All right, there you go. Look at that. Okay. This is, I like the way that works. That's better than the way it works on mine.
Okay.
Okay. So again, here we are. We're talking about duplication of benefits. We are live right now. Paul is moving me, and we want to go through and answer any questions y'all have about duplication of benefits. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to give you a few more minutes to go ahead and put questions in down below. I just want to reiterate, tonight we're going to talk about duplication of benefits only. We will be having another Facebook Live this week to cover anything that y'all want to talk about. So what I'll do is I'll go through the summary of what's happened, the summary of what the agreement is, and then what steps you need to take moving forward, and you know, sort of exactly what the solution does. We are gonna post this up on our website too, so y'all can look at the text yourself. It's about 2.5 pages of text on this. So all right. So again, I just want to reiterate: if you have a question about duplication of benefits, post it down below, and I'm going to go ahead and jump into sort of the background and where we are now and next steps. So, duplication of benefits. The deal is that if you were a disaster victim in 2016, whether it be the flood that we had in August of 2016 in South Louisiana or the North Louisiana flood in earlier in the year, you may have been subjected to something called duplication of benefits. And so here's how it went down. You flooded, and so you learned from SBA or FEMA the steps that you were supposed to take in order to become eligible for what initially was a FEMA grant of up to $33,000. So the way that it worked is that you were told that you first should apply for a loan within the SBA, the Small Business Administration. Just to be clear, even though Small Business Administration, business is in the name, this applied for renters, homeowners, anyone. This wasn't not just for businesses, this was for everyone. So many of you did what you were told and you went through and applied for a loan. Then you also applied for a grant with FEMA. Then later on, because in September we got a tranche of money to begin funding the Restore Louisiana program. That program is a grant program. So you went through and applied for a grant through Restore Louisiana, and you were told that you were ineligible because you had applied for a loan through the SBA and were approved. It didn't matter if you accepted the loan or did not accept the loan, you were denied. And so many people have been very frustrated, let me say rightfully so, have been frustrated because you're sitting there looking at your neighbor across the street who has the same square footage house, that makes the same amount of money as you do, had just as much water in his or her home as you did, and they are being given a grant for $50,000. You have a loan for $50,000, and you're looking at that saying, this isn't fair. You are right. So here's what we did. We started back a year and a half ago, or somewhere between a year and a half and 2 years ago, began working with the Obama administration, trying to get them to change this policy. They refused. We then began working with the new administration. They, I don't know if I'd say that they ever outright refused, but they didn't do it after working with them for a while on trying to get them to change it. HUD was pointing at SBA, SBA was pointing at the Office of Management and Budget. It was just, and FEMA was involved too, and it was just a debacle. So we then got together with Congressman Cedric Richmond, who represents parts of South Louisiana as well. We introduced legislation back in November of 2017. November of 2017, we introduced a bill. We rolled that bill into a larger bill that passed the House Transportation Committee. We then took the larger bill and added it to a third bill that was an appropriations bill for recovery from the 2017 hurricanes Harvey, Irma, and Maria. That passed the House in December. In February, the Senate effectively removed the duplication of benefits and some of the other reforms we had in there, and ended up that it was just the funding largely, and there were not the policy provisions in there. We were frustrated, so we waited until April. We were looking for another bill that we could add it to that was sort of a must-pass bill to try and force the Senate to act. We had a bill in April that we added it to. It was an FAA bill, Federal Aviation Administration bill. That was HR 4. We added it to that bill and passed it over to the Senate again. It had a strong bipartisan vote, strong bipartisan support. So since December of last year, the Senate has not acted. April of last year, the Senate had not acted. They did take the disaster bill portion and moved it through their Homeland Security and Government Affairs Committee. In the markup in the Senate and the vote they had in the Senate committee, they moved the date to 2017, so we could not be eligible in Louisiana from our disasters in 2016. Only the hurricane victims, Hurricane Harvey victims in Louisiana in 2017 were eligible. They also removed a key provision from our bill where it explicitly says that the president may not determine that a loan and a grant are duplicative of one another. We think that is a key provision, and they struck that from the bill. It was an amendment by Senator Peters of Michigan. So we have been working with the Senate. We've been working with our senators to try to get the Senate to move the bill, to negotiate with us on this provision. And fast forward until just a few weeks ago, when that bill, HR 4, the Senate realized that they've got to vote on it by the end of September. Otherwise, the Federal Aviation Administration expires, and air traffic controllers and others potentially run into some challenges. Our commercial air service around the country potentially runs into some challenges. So the Senate began engaging, and we started working with them on a compromise provision. We have been working with them for a while. Many of the provisions that they sent to us were unacceptable. They did not solve the solve the problem for you. So we finally came to an agreement. Again, 2.5 pages of text. This largely resembles the bill that Congressman Richmond and I originally introduced in November. There are a few changes that I'm not overall happy about, but let me be clear. I believe that it still solves your problem. So here's what it does. Under this provision that was negotiated between Republicans, Democrats, House, and Senate, actually even before we introduced it, even though we had to re-engage in negotiations, here's how the process works. The governor of Louisiana or any other state will submit a request to the President of the United States asking for a waiver from the duplication of benefits provision, which is section 312A or 312B of the Stafford Act. And that's the duplication of benefits law that's in place today that I think is under a flawed interpretation. So after the governor, in our case, Governor John Bel Edwards, submits a waiver request to President Trump, the president has 45 days to act on it. And let me be clear, a maximum of 45 days. He could make a decision in one day, or he could wait the full 45 days. The president does have discretion to consider a few things. And so, for example, is it cost effective, equity and good conscience, other matters of public policy. However, let me be clear, however, we put a provision in here to ensure that your predicament is addressed. So we put a provision in, and I'll read it. It says explicitly, prohibition, the name of the paragraph is prohibition of duplication, prohibition of determination that a loan is a duplication. So it says, notwithstanding subsection C, in carrying out subparagraph A, the president may not determine that a loan is a duplication of assistance, provided that all federal assistance is used toward a loss suffered as a result of a major disaster or emergency. So what that does is that ties the president's hands in regard to his or her determination that a loan and a grant are duplicative of one another. So if you were approved for an SBA loan or you accepted an SBA loan, the president cannot look at that scenario and issue a denial of a governor's determination, of a governor's request. So that basically is what this provision does. Now, there were a few things that the Senate added, or the Senate, in negotiation with the Senate, that were added that weren't our request. A lot of these are more technical, so I'm going to skip some of those, but I guess I'll hit ones that I'm not happy with a number of them, but I'll just the key ones. So the Senate added a provision that says that this only applies to January of 2016, January 1st, 2016. So to be clear, all of Louisiana's disasters from the August 2016 floods and the North Louisiana floods in what was that, February, March of 2016 are also covered. But the disaster has to be between January 1st of 2016 and December 31st of 2021. I am not happy about this because I think this is an awful policy. I don't think that there should be a sunset on it. I think that it should just be a permanent change in policy. And so it basically has that window where the disaster has to occur, and that is between, again, January 1st of 2016 and December 31st of 2021. So it has a 5-year window there, including prospective disasters through 2021. It also has, and this is probably good policy, it has a report where it requires the administrator of FEMA to basically draft a report that looks at this duplication issue and ultimately sort of recommends a path forward for us in the future. Should it be renewed? Should it sunset again? Should it expire altogether or not? So that's basically what it does. So if you follow that timeline, what it means is it means by about mid-November, that 45 days, provided that the Governor John Bel Edwards submits a request immediately, that means that the president would have until about November 15th or so to make a decision. So the way I expect this rolling is we have reached compromise text. We are going to be voting on this bill this week in the House of Representatives. I go back to Washington on Tuesday. Again, we're going to be voting on it this week. It'll pass the House, which, by the way, will be the third time that we've passed the duplication of benefits provision through the House. It then is going to go to the Senate, where we believe the votes in the House and in the Senate are there to pass. The White House was involved in our negotiations. The president will sign this bill. It will go into law by probably the weekend. So this not today, Sunday, but the following weekend. in which case possibly as late as Monday, but it should be the weekend. And then at that point, what's going to happen is that the governor can submit the request. I have spoken to the governor. I have been in communication with the governor repeatedly over the last several weeks about this. I gave him a heads up that we were cutting the deal. We finished this negotiation probably around 12:30 or 1, 12:30 a.m. Or 1 a.m. on Friday night, Saturday morning. I gave him a heads up, probably, I don't know, maybe 6 a.m. or so on Saturday morning. And so he is aware of this. He is prepared to issue the request to the president. The next step is that the Restore Task Force, I am meeting with them Tuesday morning? Tuesday morning, I'm meeting with the Restore Task Force to talk to them a little bit about what we've done. They have the federal funding to cut you checks or transfer funds to you. It is already in the bank. We gave it to them, in fact, some of it 2 years ago. So that money is in the bank. It is already programmed to this. So what this means, if you have applied to Restore and been denied because of duplication of benefits, that is actually good news, and that you were in their system, they're aware of you. If you have not applied to Restore because you took an SBA loan or were approved for an SBA loan, or saying, well, look, I'm not going to waste my time doing this because I'm going to get denied, you have until October 1st. October 1st. So you have effectively a week to apply. Do not wait. That is the deadline. If you don't apply by then, you're out. You're not eligible. So if you did not apply to Restore because you have taken an SBA loan or were approved for an SBA loan, you said, you know what, I'm not going to waste my time because I know I'm getting denied, please apply. They have hundreds of millions of dollars in federal funds to provide to people that are flood victims. So please apply. Now, last question that I'm going to answer before I go to these. A number of people have asked, how much am I going to get and things like that. All right, so the timeline, I think, is mid-November. If you have applied already, you're in the system, you should not have to apply again. I can't tell you exactly how much you're going to get individually, but effectively what Restore should do, the task force should do, the Restore program, is they should look at you as though you are any other flood victim. So if you have that person across the street that I mentioned earlier, and they have the same square footage, they got the same amount of water, they have the same income, same damage and everything else, and they got a grant through Restore for $60,000, and you're basically in the same boat as they are, you should probably get the same amount of money or roughly the same amount. So the way the Restore Task Force, the Restore program should look at you, if you're stuck in this duplication of benefits quandary, is that they should look at you as though you have not taken an SBA loan, you have not been approved for an SBA loan, and they should just look at you like anybody else. All right, so with that, thank you for your patience. I'm going to go ahead and go to questions. Alicia, hi. Phyllis is clapping, Paul is clapping, Susan, thank you as well, Nicole. Philip, I have no idea what you're talking about. Alicia, what's the solution? We need to take further steps. So Alicia, I hope I answered that question. If you're already in the Restore database because you've applied for Restore and been denied, or maybe they gave you a reduced grant because you had an SBA loan or approved for a loan, you should be in the system. You should not have to take any other steps. I am confirming that with Restore Task Force. Again, I meet with them Tuesday morning. They will make a public announcement and communicate with people. But my conversations with the governor, my conversations with Restore program officials have indicated to me that you will not have to apply. Do you need to take additional steps if you have not applied to the Restore program at all? Yes, you need to apply, and you only have a week to do it before the deadline is final, unless they extend it again, but I have no indication that they are. So please apply if you have not applied. Alicia, I hope that answers your question. Nolan, when will it be a done deal? We are going to pass this bill this week in the House of Representatives, this week in the Senate. I expect with 99% certainty this will be law by the weekend or Monday. Nolan, I hope you're doing well. Good to see you at the Lamar Dixon. Let's see, Gail, I've indicated that this Facebook Live is only, that was Gayla, I appreciate you being on again for our Facebook Lives, but I'm only covering duplication of benefits tonight. We are going to do another Facebook Live this week where we will cover anything that people want to cover. So this one is only for Facebook Live tonight. Alex, thanks for being on. Good to see you, hear from you. I guess I hadn't seen you in a while, but I'll see you on Tuesday. Nolan, thank you for your hard work from finding a solution. You bet, Nolan, and this has been incredibly frustrating. Only a fraction of the frustration of what you all have gone through, and I am very sorry this has taken as long as it has. I want to reiterate, we have been waiting on the Senate for 10, 11 months now to work to pass this bill, and we have been very frustrated at the slow pace over there. But I will say that our senators did engage in some of our negotiations, so they were helping out, trying to push this thing at the end. Let's see, Nancy, when will it actually be that all the approvals, when will it actually be they all approvals and ready to pay the people? Nancy, so I went through that timeline. As I lay it out based on the law, effectively by the middle of November, the money should be transferred, checks cut. There should not be additional delays. I am confirming that, though, again, with the Restore Task Force on Tuesday, and I am going to ask them to make a public announcement to folks to help give them, help align expectations with dollar amounts, making sure that you're treated the same way as anybody else who did or did not receive an SBA loan, making sure that they do use the database of people that were rejected because of duplication of benefits, and that they effectively just hit transfer and get these monies out the door as quickly as possible. Braden, thank you for taking care of duplication of benefits. Great work, and Braden, thank you very much. I appreciate that. Stacy's on. Hey, Stacy. Paula, thank you, and you're welcome. Let's see. Francis, thank you for helping us. You bet. Mark, thanks for the thumbs up. Back at you. Mary Beth, hope you're doing well, MB. Joseph, let's see. Joseph Hanks, let me see.
He's talking about a privacy release.
Privacy release. I can't.
He's calling it a nut.
All right. Whenever I hit this see more, it gives me the opportunity to give a thumbs up.
He says, how come when I called your office I was told I had to sign and was emailed a non-disclosure agreement before I was allowed to talk to your staff?
Yeah, Joseph, that was not a non-disclosure agreement. That's called a privacy release form. That is, every congressional office has the exact same form. It is a result of the Privacy Act of 1974. The Restore program, federal agencies, others, they will not communicate with our office on your particular details unless we have that form for you. It's sort of like a just permission. It's us being able to demonstrate to others we have permission. Otherwise, what we could potentially do is just call any agency and say, hey, tell me about Joseph Hanks. Well, that's invading on your privacy. So that is a form, again, is required by federal law. Every congressional office, House, Senate, Republican, Democrat, has to use the same form in order to engage on your behalf. The form's actually on our website, and so there really isn't any, it doesn't say anything about non-disclosure. Our office is prohibited from disclosing publicly any information about you that we acquired through that process, but there's no non-disclosure on your behalf. You're welcome to say whatever you want. And again, anybody who has an interest in that form, you can go to our website. It's garrettgraves.house.gov, garrettgraves.house.gov. That's one T in Garrett. And I don't know where it is, maybe under casework or something.
How can Garrett help?
How can Garrett help? If you go to How Can Garrett Help, you'll see the privacy release form, and that shows you the form that literally thousands and thousands of people have sent to us.
Cases bill?
What's that?
Cases bill?
Oh yeah, so and Joseph, on that issue, we have a bill that has passed the House of Representatives that we filed with Congressman Joe Kennedy from Massachusetts. And what that does is it allows for an electronic permission from you, sort of like you electronically file your taxes and other things, just because we want to make it a little bit easier on constituents, on folks who need our help. So we are trying to update the world from 1974 when that law was written to make sure that we can help you faster and get you better service. Beverly Brooks Thompson, Beverly, I hope you're doing well, and thank you very much. She says amazing work, Congressman, and I appreciate it. Nick, hope all is well, and I hope you enjoyed Taylor Swift last night, Nick. That's great. I'd love to see some pictures from you at that concert that we can post up on Facebook. Joseph, yeah, I think we got the gist of what you were saying, Joseph. And if I didn't answer your question, or if I misunderstood it, if you could just clarify, happy to jump on it. David Harriman, hope all's well. Cora, hey, how are you? Jeff, Restore Louisiana is beyond difficult to work with, like impossible, Jeff, and I see that comment's been liked a little bit. I know that there have been some real challenges over there. I think that they are up and running, and I think that, we have had meetings with Secretary Ben Carson, with the Restore program state officials, with the Restore contractors. I think that there's plenty of blame to go around to all three. This has been incredibly frustrating to us. I've thrown out there that back in March of this year, despite the fact that the money had been in the bank had been passed in the law by nearly 18 months, that they had only given out $60 million of $1.7 billion. As of, what was it, Paul, a month ago, 2 months ago, they were only at $346 million.
Mm-hmm.
I think I understand now they're over $550 million, but it's 2 years later, and some people have tried to tell me, oh, well, this is the fastest it's ever happened. You know what? If you've been out of your house for 2 years, it's not fast enough. That is absolutely inexcusable. In fact, I had a conference call with this assistant secretary for HUD who was sitting there bragging that it was the fastest ever done or something like that, and I'm just livid with him. I was sitting on an airplane and with a bunch of people around me, so I couldn't go off on him too much, but to think that somebody was bragging about 2 years later you're getting checks to flood victims, absolutely ridiculous. And by the way, we are working to take all the lessons learned from this experience and making sure that we change laws, policies, and everything else we can do to get this fixed. HUD told us that they were going to set up a strike team and do conference calls with us on a regular basis, which, Paul, they have not followed up with us at all, despite our repeated phone calls and emails. We had the governor's chief of staff there and others. Incredibly frustrating, but I'll put that aside for a minute. And Jeff, I'm sorry. Look, Jeff, if we can help you, please contact our office, and we're happy to engage the Restore program on your behalf. Delvin, thanks. You've done a great job, Delvin. Thank you. And I'm very sorry, Delvin, if you're a victim of this awful policy that it's taken this long to get it fixed. But I am glad that that we got it fixed now, and we'll be moving in the right direction. Paul, can you look at Paige? I can't see all of hers. What about those with flood insurance who have to use their retirement accounts to make up for, and I can't see the rest?
What insurance did not cover, or at least for our deductibles and depreciation.
Okay, so Paige, two things. Number one, if you did have to tap your retirement income or any type of 401ks or other things, we did change the law in December of last year, which removes the penalties and the higher tax rate on the taxability of those funds. And so the penalties and the higher tax rates are eliminated. You can amend your tax returns within 3 years, and you can get that money back. I have talked to multiple people who told me, oh, you know what, look, I just decided I thought it was a pain in the butt, and I wasn't going to go back and amend my taxes, but I talked to my accountant, and they came back and told me that I was going to get several $1,000s. I don't know your exact situation, but I would urge you to talk to an accountant about that. Secondly, if you had money that, if you had damages, so let's make up numbers. Let's say that you had a flood insurance policy of $200,000 and you had contents of $100,000. And let's say that you had, again, structural $200,000, contents $100,000. Let's say that that you had $150,000 in damages and you had $40,000 in contents damaged. Well, if your insurance program is only giving you $120,000 and you had $150,000, please contact our office. I want to see if we can help engage the flood insurance program. What we've done in the past with other people, we've had some success working and getting other contractors to go do estimates, getting 3 estimates showing that the NFIP program's payment to you was too low, and going back and appealing and saying, no, look, you have 3 contractors showing it's $150,000, and so we've had some success there. Same thing on contents. Happy to work with you if that's the case. In regard, so let's say that you had a scenario where you had insufficient flood insurance, so you had $50,000 structural coverage, but you had $150,000 in damages. You may be eligible for Restore program assistance in that case for what is above your flood insurance coverage, but it depends on your situation there, and happy to work with you on that page. I hope that was helpful. Melissa, what if you're approved and got a small amount from Restore, but most of what? Sorry, this is Melissa Sheets. Right after.
What if you were approved and got a small amount from Restore, but most of what you should have gotten was considered duplication of benefits? Would we get those funds now?
Okay, Melissa, yes, you should, and I don't want to pretend your exact situation, but it sounds like if there was so let's say you did get a small amount from Restore, we'll make up numbers. You got $5,000 from Restore, but you got a loan for $50,000, so effectively the Restore program told you that you were not eligible for getting any of that $50,000 in damages that were covered by your loan. Would you be eligible for them to take a fresh look at that $50,000? Yes. In that situation, if you did get a small check, but the majority of your damages were canceled out or deemed ineligible because of your SBA loan, yes, you should now be eligible. John Taylor, back at you. Sharon, hey Congressman, how you doing, Sharon? Thanks for being on. Linda, thanks for your support of Cypress Point. You bet, Linda. Actually, Paul's sitting right there, who I know was very involved in that one as well. Delvin, you're asking about a sign. Delvin, we have a wall. So I'm in the official side right now, so we can't cover campaign activities there. I think legally I can just refer me to the campaign website.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so I can refer you to the campaign website, which is garrettgraves.com. I think that's all I can legally do. Matt, thumbs back at you, or a thumb back at you. Andre is watching. Hope all is well, Andre. Julie, is the SBA loan in its entirety no longer to be counted against duplication benefits regardless of how much you did? I assume you're going to say or did not take. So the answer is yes, Julie, and I think that's similar to the question that I answered earlier from Melissa. And so if you got a SBA loan approval, and we'll make up numbers. Let's say that you got an approval for $60,000 a loan through the SBA, but you only took $10,000. So the way that the Restore program's been acting is they've effectively been prohibiting you from any assistance for that entire $60,000. So if I am understanding your question correctly, you should be eligible, Julie, for that entire $60,000. They will not consider the loan approval, how much you took, how much you didn't take. You will be treated just like a neighbor who perhaps didn't apply for anything except for Restore and got a grant there. So I hope that was helpful. Warner, bravo, thank you. Jared, oh hey, let me ask y'all something real quick. I know we have a number of folks on right now. Could y'all do me a favor? I know that there are a lot of folks, in fact thousands of folks, that are in this predicament of the duplication of benefits issue. Could y'all do me a favor and hit share down there? If you can just hit share down there or there, wherever it is, I would really appreciate it. So this way. No, that way. So yeah, if you could hit share though, it just helps us connect with other people. I'd appreciate if y'all could do that because we want to make sure we're able to get information out to all of the duplication of benefits victims. And I want to be clear, victims, because you were victimized by the flood and you were victimized again by your own government through this ridiculous policy. Jared, thank you. Hubert, thank you. Let's see. Lauren. Melissa's tagging Stefan. Megan is on. Julie says we're in the same boat. Okay, you must be talking the same boat as I discussed a minute ago, so hope that made sense. Linda, look at that. I can't make my eyes do that, but I can give you this back anyway. Look at that. Gordon Vargas. Gordon, thanks for being on. Good luck, buddy. Gordon's a good guy. Enjoyed. Let's see. Let's see. Rebecca, there's a finite number of categories people fall into. Took an SBA loan and was rejected by Restore. Rebecca, can you see her? Rebecca
Can't
Lemry?
anymore. I can't.
So Rebecca, so everybody, just so y'all know, what happens here is that let's see if I can show you. It gives me a little see more thing, but when I click on it, all it does is let me like it or thumbs up it or whatever else. So so if you can see that, watch what happens when I hit. So I can like it, boom, but I can't see the rest of it. So the lesson learned here, until Facebook gets better technology is try and keep them brief. That way I can see the whole thing. Paul's trying to pull up the rest of it, but it says a number of categories people fall into. Took an SBA loan, was rejected by Restore. Maybe you got a loan or were approved for a loan for part of your damages. Maybe you were approved for a loan but didn't take a loan. There are a number of different categories, I think, what Rebecca is saying that you could fit into. And the deal is that I think the way to really summarize, if you were impacted by duplication of benefits, meaning if you were holistically impacted, if you had $50,000 in damages, you got a $50,000 loan, and so Restore's giving you nothing, then that $50,000 loan should be no longer considered there, and you should be treated just as someone who didn't get a loan or didn't get approved for a loan.
I got it. There's a finite number of categories people fall into. For example, took an SBA loan and was rejected by Restore, refused an SBA loan and was rejected by Restore. Can your office put out a summary of what this means for people in each category?
Okay, got it. Rebecca, absolutely. We're happy to do that. I will just go through and try and finish answering though, but we're happy to put out a summary on how this should work. If you applied for a loan, and let's say you got approved for $50,000, but you did not take a penny. I know that Restore program has even been making those folks ineligible, and so that should no longer be the case. You should be eligible. I won't get into whether they should or not do that, but so I think the easiest, cleanest way to say it is that your SBA loan application, whether you're approved, not approved, took a loan, didn't take a loan, took a partial loan, that should have zero impact anymore on your eligibility. So I hope that, Rebecca, that answers the question, but we will put more information out. Joseph, I don't put much faith in John Bell Everett. We'll look. Bottom line is he's our governor right now, and he's the one that's going to have to submit this request. I have spoken to him, and we've been in communication a good bit lately. He is going to submit this request to the president, which is good news because it's a request on your behalf. That's what starts the process and starts this clicking, the clock ticking. Wow. I promise it's just water in here, just water, a little ice water. That's what starts the clock ticking, and so he's going to do the right thing in this case, and obviously if he refused to, then we'd have thousands of people out there protesting. I'd be with you. Rebecca, no way he doesn't agree to push this. Yeah, Rebecca, I agree with you. Joseph, he probably will, but I still don't have much faith. Stephen, folks who pay insurance should set the same benefits to those who do not. We should not be punished. Stephen, I think you're probably saying that if you had flood insurance, you effectively should be, I guess, kind of put on a level playing field, or shouldn't be penalized in terms of grant eligibility because of that. And Stephen, I think you make a very good point. Many people were proactive and got insurance. The one I guess quandary is that by some measure, and I want to be clear on that, by some measure, this was up to a 1,000-year storm, and as you know, flood insurance requirements are generally in the 100-year floodplain, and so I feel strongly that we need to have an assistance program for folks, whether you had insurance or not. But I don't think people should obviously be penalized for having flood insurance. Stephen, so if that's what you're saying, I agree. Sheila, thank you, Congressman Graves. You bet, Sheila. Josh, hope all's well. Hope the baby's doing well. Did I hear y'all are pregnant again? Did I hear that? I'm not making an announcement. I'm just asking a question. If so, send me a text. And don't tell Shannon I said that on Facebook Live. Secrets here, safe. Let's see. Jolise is saying, I was sent a certified letter saying I've lost all chance of receiving money. Jolise, I don't know your specific case, but if that was because of duplication of benefits, then that should not have an impact on you. Please give our office a call, and we're happy to look into your case or share some of our experience with you. 225-442 1731. And Jaleese, tell Woody we said hello. Jenny, why were renters not included in Restore? Jenny, give us a call. There potentially are still some options that are there. Give us a call, 225-442-1731. Let's see if we can look into your case and figure out if we can find some help there. Mike, you should probably define applying and taking the survey, because if they've not taken the survey, you look at that one, Paul, Mike Shelton.
It gives it to
All right,
me.
Mike, we're coming back to you in a minute. Delvin, thanks. Jaleese, let's see. Should I still apply for receive a certified letter? Yes. So, Jaleese, I think I answered this one a minute ago, but just want to reiterate that that is, if you received a certified letter saying you were ineligible because of duplication of benefits, then that certified letter finding or outcome should no longer apply. But let's, again, give us a call. Happy to look into it for you.
Mike Sheldon?
Yeah, Mike Sheldon. All right, what you got?
You should probably define applying and taking the survey, because if they have not taken the survey, then they are out. Only people who have taken the survey and not applied have until October 1st.
Yeah, thank you very much, Michael. And so, so there was a survey that popped up online. I think it was in May of 2017. And so the survey popped up, and the survey was up for, gosh, when did that expire? In June or something? Do you remember when that was?
It was this summer.
It was sometime this summer. So you had over a year to take the survey. The survey told you if you were eligible or not. So you had to have taken the survey already. Now, if the survey told you no, that doesn't, because of duplication of benefits, it doesn't necessarily mean that you're no longer that you're still ineligible. So if you've taken the survey and were told no because of duplication of benefits, you have until October 1st to apply for Restore benefits. So I hope that made sense. And Michael, thank you very much for the clarification. Alicia, thank you so much. It's been amazing. Alicia, thank you very much. I appreciate it. Tony, if you're in the system, you know what the award is. Okay, well, there you go. Tony says, if you're in the system, you know what the award is. So Tony, I assume you applied, you were told what your eligibility was in terms of dollars, but then told you were ineligible because of Restore. So I guess that's the case. Travis, I see you sneaking in on the whole national retail sales tax thing, but I just want to reiterate that tonight there were a ton of questions on duplication of benefits, so we're going to cover that. Travis, love to talk to you about tax policy. We're going to do another Facebook Live this week covering whatever y'all want, anything at all. Kermit, I like what you're doing, and core beliefs, even if I don't agree with you on a few decisions. Kermit, look, man, I'm one of 5 kids. We didn't agree in my own family. My wife and 3 kids at home, I get outvoted all the time. So I appreciate your comments, and very much. I appreciate your comments. And look, we represent 800,000 people in 13 parishes. And so just like in my family growing up, we didn't always agree. In my family now, we don't always agree. We try and be respectful of one another's decisions, and we do, even if I get voted off the island or whatever, we do try and go with consensus, and so that's the job here. I would love it if all 800,000 people agreed on every policy matter and vote we had to take, but as you know, that's not the case. So we try and do what the consensus is, what the majority of people want us to do, and as a result of Facebook Lives like this, telephone town halls, all the thousands of meetings we have, and other engagements, the Grubs with Garrett and other things. So Kermit, I appreciate your comments, and I most importantly appreciate the kind of the respectful dialogue and expressing your opinion. So you know what, Kermit, I know how to, what did I just do? All right, I just did something. So Kermit, watch this, boom, I just gave you a thumbs up or a like, because that's all I can do. Cora, thank you for all you do. We appreciate everything you're doing. Thanks, Cora. Hope all's well. I haven't seen you at Trader Joe's in a while. I may be going there tonight if I have time, because I got to get milk. What else do we need, Coco? Trader Joe's? Peggy, what is a person... What if a person was told during the survey time period, because they got an SBA loan, they will...
have duplication of benefits, so the person didn't continue with Restore. Can they
Okay.
apply now?
It's my understanding that right now, no. But let me be clear. I think that there were a lot of people that probably did not move forward because they thought they were ineligible. So we are going to be talking to Restore this on Tuesday morning, and that is one of the things we're going to be talking to them about. Quite frankly, I am going to ask them if they can possibly extend the October 1st deadline. I want to be clear, it is not extended. Please act as though it is in place. But as one of the things we're going to be asking them to do everything they can to reopen this to where they can provide assistance to folks who may have thought they were ineligible because of the duplication of benefits issue. Michelle, will the money be required to be used to repay SBA loans? Michelle, this is a good question. I know that some folks have been wondering about this. It is my understanding right now that the answer is no, it will not be required. There was talk about provisions in this that came up during negotiations. There was conflicting information coming out from agencies and others. So at this point, it is my understanding no. We are going to be talking to the agencies. Here's what we've asked so far. We said, look, we don't want it to be a requirement, but we want it to be an option. And the scenario would be maybe you got a loan for $50,000, but you actually have $75,000 in damages because your car, your wardrobe, your something with your house or what have you. So we believe that you should have the option of making the decision of where your dollars should go. My 2 cents. I would urge you, if you don't need the money, to please pay those loans back, because we want to make sure that the dollars are used to truly address damages from the covering damages from the flood, as opposed to other things. Rebecca, does it matter if work is finished or not? Rebecca, it should not. It should not. As you know, there are different models that Restore is using for folks whose work is done. Nothing's been done. They use a Restore contractor. They use their own contractor. Things like that. But no. And I know there's a particular person on here from Restore who's watching right now. He's going to call me and give me all my criticism for things I said the way I said them. Warner, thank you, Warner. Michael, this bill fixes duplication of benefits. That's great. That's right, Michael. It does. That's what this bill does. Jeanette, thank you. Now about getting state ditches dug out on 42. I know that's 42s in the LP in Livingston Parish, and we've talked about this before. In fact, you know what? All right, so I said I wasn't going to cover other issues. So Jeanette, I'm going to say very quickly. We got $50 million through the Department of Agriculture's Natural Resources Conservation Service. Some of that work is being done right now, and so the work being done in the LP under that $50 million should benefit there. Tony, are they going to reach out to those who were denied? Tony, it is my understanding, yes, that is the case. Once again, and Paul, why don't you make note of all these things just so when I'm okay. Look at that, step ahead. Always a step ahead. He's saying he's always a step ahead, 5 steps ahead, 10 steps ahead. So the answer to that is yes, and based on my conversation with the governor, but we are going to be reiterating that with the Restore Council. Cora, Mary Irwin, what's this about? Mary Irwin, this is about duplication of benefits. People who received a loan through the Small Business Administration, the SBA, or even were approved but did not take the money. They were flood victims in the 2016 floods in North Louisiana, or the August ones in South Louisiana, August 2016, and were told that they were ineligible for a grant through the Restore Louisiana program because they had a loan. So through the SBA, or were approved through a loan. So we've finalized negotiations on legislation that the Senate, that the White House have signed off on. This should become law by next weekend, and should address that issue when folks who have been deemed ineligible. Joseph, thank you for clarifying all the updates. You bet, man. Marcia, what is the remedy for reduced benefits because of duplication of benefits, so they revisit existing awards? So, Marcia, yes, that is what should happen. Cindy, thanks for the update. You bet. Thanks for being on. Gene Carpenter, thanks for all your hard work. You bet, Gene. And I want to thank you for your patience. Look, we have been I don't know that I can say as frustrated as you, because I can't even imagine, although I have spoken to hundreds of you, but I can't even imagine just how frustrating this has been, but I'm glad that we finally have been able to get this thing fixed. Barbara, thank you for fighting so hard for us. Great job. And you bet. I think our quote was, Paul and I were sitting there trying to come up with something early. What day was it? Saturday morning, whenever we were writing something, and basically what we came up with was, perseverance overcomes stupidity. It is so frustrating to have our own government fighting us on something that I just think is common sense in terms of this thing needing to be fixed. Kristen's tagging Derek. Derek, come on, man, where are you? Robert, I'm glad we're able to help, and I hope that your son. I hope we are able to help your son. Kristen is tagging. Cindy, state contractor issues, and Cindy, I think we are working with you if I remember right. But let's just make sure that we're talking to our office again. Cindy, 225-442-1731. Barbara, what are the guidelines for eligibility to have SBA loan converted to grant status? So Barbara, the way this is working is that you have to apply through the Restore Louisiana program. So SBA loans over here, you got your loan and you got the money. All right, so we're putting this over here. Restore program is over here. Under that program, you take the survey, you apply through Restore, and so what happens is, if you were previously ineligible for the grant because of your SBA loan, then you now would be eligible for the grant. So you could get so you got a loan for $50,000. Restore tells you were eligible for $50,000 grant. You now, but you were ineligible because of your loan. You now can get the grant, and so I hope that not so articulate answer explains something to someone. Sorry about that. Bottom line is that your loan is not going to be converted. What will be changed is that you were previously deemed ineligible for a grant. You now should be eligible. Kathy, thank you for finding a solution to this problem. It didn't flood, but many, including my son, did. Yeah, Kathy, I'm really glad we were able to work this out, and please make sure your son's aware of this. Warner is saying he's still not back in his home. Hey, I'm really sorry to hear. Very sorry to hear about that, and I hope this does help. Robert, Restore said I was paid in full, but they're still about $30,000 short. Robert, the way this works is that they don't always come in. The way the Restore program works, they don't always come in and pay for every single thing that you might have lost. But it is an effort to try to get you back as whole as they can. We funded that program to the tune of $1.7 billion in federal funds. In terms of not making you whole, again, I hope that you were at least able to get back on your feet again. And if you're still having problems, we may be able to find other assistance that may be helpful. Michael, Mary Irwin, it's about Restore. Okay. Tony, still no kitchen, waiting on money. Tony, I'm sorry. Again, please let us know if we can help out. Jill, thank you so much. We've been trying to fix her home from the flood by using what little we have. Jill, again, very, very sorry, and hoping that this money is flowing by middle of November. It could even be sooner. If the president gets the governor's request and turns it around within a couple days, we could be talking about October. So it could be sooner, and we're certainly going to be pushing White House to do that. In fact, we've got a letter that we have drafted to the president that we're going to ask the whole delegation to sign. House, Senate, Republican, Democrat, get everybody to sign and send to the president and tell him, hey, look, be ready for this and please approve it as quickly as possible. Donna, victim of Restore, duplication of benefits here. Thanks for helping us in the traumatic experience with Restore. You bet. Mike, you're the man. Garrett, you hear that, wife? She tells me otherwise all the time. You helped me and my family tremendously. Keep up the fine work. Mike, I'm going to give you her phone number. You just tell her. That'd be great. Hey, Coco. Look at that. What does that say right there? What does it say?
You're the man, Garrett.
That's right. Keep saying that. Thank you. All right. Sonia, let's make up numbers. Let's make up numbers. I assume you mean in the explanation. Sorry about that. I obviously don't know every person's exact situation. So let's see, Jill. How do we reapply for Restore after being denied because of money we did not receive from SBA loan? So Jill, again, if you were denied by Restore for all money or maybe a portion of money because of the loan, you should not have to reapply. Restore should have you in the database, and they should reprocess it under this revised fix. And Jill, just to reiterate the timeline, we're guessing that the approval would come through by around mid-November, and so the Restore program would be able to transfer the funds after that. Could happen faster, but that should be the timeline. Cindy, thank you. Kim, will this help us with our rentals if we did not have flood insurance? So Kim, the way this works is that if you were not given a grant or you had a reduced grant through Restore because of an SBA loan and they deem that duplication of benefits, then that duplication of benefits should no longer, that prohibition due to duplication of benefits should no longer make you ineligible. Joe Sibley, hello Joe. Kenny, should I wait until the president signs into law before I contact Restore? Yeah, Kenny, so here's the deal. Restore program is aware of this. I was texting them, all the Restore folks early Saturday morning, so they're all aware of this. I'm meeting with them on Tuesday morning. So they do not have the authority right now. The way this is going to work, just to go through it again, this bill should become law by next weekend. And I'm giving it a 99% chance. I don't foresee any problems whatsoever. We've negotiated with House, Senate, and White House. This will be the third time it passes through the House. And we've been waiting on the Senate this whole time. So it'll go to the White House. It should become law by the weekend or so. The governor would then submit a request to the president. The governor has that request in his quiver. He is ready to go. He's going to issue this. We've been in touch with him, and he certainly wants this to get changed. The president has 45 days to rule on the governor's request because the law will have a provision that explicitly says that the president may not determine that a loan is a duplication of assistance. And as long as the governor's request is confined to that topic, then the president should not have the discretion to issue a denial, which if you go to the timeline, the governor submits it on October 1st. By November 15th approximately, then that should be the president's timeline, 45 days for making a decision. I'll say it again, he could make it in 1 day, in 1 week, in 2 weeks, so it could be faster. We have written a delegation letter to the president that we're asking the other delegation members to sign, making the president aware that this is coming, asking him to act very quickly on this, so we don't have to wait the full 45 days. So Kenny, I don't think you should have to contact Restore. They are going to go through all of the victims here of duplication of benefits automatically that have applied and deemed ineligible, and should change that ineligibility. All right, Julie, your Restore grant quote award should increase the amount that was subtracted by SBA duplication benefit. That's correct, Julie. That effectively sums it up. Elizabeth, glad to hear duplication of benefits is being corrected. Look at this, Elizabeth, because I can heart that too. Boom, just hearted. You got a second heart now. Jordan, what's the process now for trying to get the money you were denied having an SBA loan? Again, Jordan, you should be able to sit back, and the Restore program, once they're made ineligible, should be able to address all that. Warner, you got me all, look at this, man. You got me all confused here with all your symbols. Kristen, thanks for our hard work. We appreciate it. Kristen, thank you. Yvette, so if you got an SBA loan, will you get Restore? Yes, Yvette. If you were deemed ineligible for Restore because of your SBA loan, you should get Restore now. Crystal, thank you very much. And Crystal, as I mentioned earlier, we're in our official congressional office, our government office. We're not allowed to talk campaign stuff, but all I can do is refer you to our campaign website, GarrettGraves.com. Sally, I'd like to know the answer to that too. Sally, I'm not sure what answer you're looking for, but I hope I answered it. Gwen, if I didn't answer it, Sally, please just repost. Gwen, I borrowed from SBA and was denied. Do I have to do anything? Gwen, if you applied to restore, if you took the survey and we're told you were ineligible, if you applied, told you were ineligible because of duplication of benefits, you should not have to do anything. If you did not apply, then you have until October 1st to do so. Please do not wait. Please do that as quickly as possible. For those that did not take the survey, we are going to be talking to Restore this week, asking them to see if they can find something to do, like reopen the period or make an extension or something like that. But I want to say it again, as of today, the deadline is October 1st. Sheila, are there benefits going to pay off our SBA loan? Sheila, what we have asked is that you make that decision, but there is a policy from, what was it, 2011, I believe, that HUD had a prohibition there, but if you take the money, deposit in your bank account, I'm really not sure how they prohibit that, but we will be working with you on that for those of you that want to eliminate the loan payments. I think that's likely what I would want to do if I didn't need the funds. Didn't need them, you know what I mean. If you took the loan and did the work on your house, therefore you don't need the grant funds to finish rebuilding. Melissa, how long will it take for these new rules to get implemented and have those cases recalculated? Melissa, I hope I answered that sufficiently, but just quickly to say that we believe the timeline here should be at the latest the middle of November for approval, and then Restore would be able to transfer funds or cut checks by then. Sonia says, Hoover, don't click. All right. Judy, please don't stop fighting for us. You're the most effective congressman to date, and we respect you. Judy, thank you very much. I appreciate that. Kim, we appreciate all your hard work and for not giving up. Robert, I saw your post, and I appreciate that. And Robert, just want to reiterate that we're trying to cover duplication of benefits here. I do appreciate your son's service and don't want to appear disrespectful at all. I know that we are working to try and help with assistance there. But please let me know if I'm missing something, if there's anything else we can do. Nancy, is duplication of benefits fixed? My live feed keeps cutting out. Nancy, it's fixed. This should be a law by this coming weekend. So we should be all good then. And it should take about 45 days after that. Brittany, what if we've been forced to put our home for sale? Will we still be eligible if we have not sold? Brittany, I don't want to give you an answer, but it is my understanding that we are working with you right now, and that and it's my understanding that you should be eligible if the SBA duplication of benefits was the sole reason you were deemed ineligible. Oh, actually, I remember. Yeah. That's your Bodie's relative, right? Yeah.
Sisters.
Yeah. Ashley. So if we received the full FEMA amount and approved for $80,000, and the SBA only took $25,000 and was rejected, I assume you're going to say for Restore. Ashley, that's correct. You should be deemed eligible for whatever portion the duplication of benefits sort of disqualified you for under Restore. Gwen, it was for a mobile home. So Gwen, I hope I answered your question, but I think you should be eligible. Rebecca, let's see, your office put what it means for people in each category. Yep, Rebecca got it. Do we have a ton more, Paul? Can you see from
we got a lot.
Huh?
We got a lot.
Okay. Nope. I think I just hearted Shorty and I didn't mean to. Sorry about that. Well, it's very hard. Well, all right, Shorty and Sharon, I hearted you, and I did by accident. I didn't even read your comment. I hope you're not saying something mean. Can we still receive funds if we already sold the house? Yeah, Diego, Rebecca, or who was it? Ashley was just asking that, I think. Let us check out your exact situation, but again, if you were deemed ineligible for Restore because of duplication of benefits, you should be deemed eligible now. All right, Shorty, what if we were denied SBA but did not receive FEMA benefits? Is that still considered DOB? No. So the duplication of benefits pertains to SBA loans. So if you were denied under Restore because of an SBA loan, then this fix addresses that. If you were denied under Restore because it was calculated that you received full recovery funds through the initial SBA grants, which you recall went up to $33,000, then that's not duplication of benefits in this case. I hope that makes sense. Shorty, but look, Shorty, or maybe it's Sharon, Shorty and Sharon. If that's if you believe that you still have damages above what the FEMA grant was, and Restore is not taking appropriate things into consideration, please feel free to contact our office, and we'd be happy to work with Restore on your behalf and see if we can help out there. Deborah, we gave up, ended up moving out of state, thought we could get help with relocation, no dice. Deborah, I'm really, really sorry to hear that you left. Love for you to come back, and if any portion of your ineligibility was a result of duplication of benefits, then let's see if we can figure out if you're eligible. But would love for you to be back here for that. Gwen, I was approved for 130, took 40, was denied for all. So Gwen, again, the portion that was attributable to duplication of benefits, you should be eligible for. Misty, I'm still waiting for my trailer. I hope you don't mean your FEMA trailer. I hope you mean your replacement. Everything was approved, just waiting for the Fed since January. Misty, I don't think I understand why in the world or how. So if it's a FEMA trailer, that timeline doesn't make sense to me. Misty, Misty, I feel like we've spoken. Misty Hopkins. Misty, give us a call. I want to better understand, or maybe if you could clarify, or if you can read the rest of it, Paul. I can't see anything after January.
I can't.
All right. Let's see. Look at that. Chief's on. Chief, I hope you're doing well. Hey, Chief, check it out. See that? Paulette, thank you for the great news and caring. You bet. Thank you. And again, I'm sorry this has taken so long. We've been frustrated now that this has taken as long as it has to get the Senate to move it. Kim, when should we expect to see money? What's the timeline again, Kim? Mid-November should be the soonest. Pat, unbelievable. What? Pat, again, look. George, oh no, you know the question. So Misty's saying, what is he saying? Please, I'm deaf. All right, Misty, let me try again. And someone please feel free to type this out for Misty as well. Misty Hopkins, what I'm saying is that if you could call us or email us, I just want to make sure that we understand what your situation is. I don't understand why you would be waiting this long for a FEMA trailer if you're talking about a FEMA trailer. If you're talking about buying a new trailer to replace one that was flooded, then let's see what we can figure out to help out. But regardless, please contact our office. Jill, do we need to reapply to Restore if we've been denied? No. Judy, will Restore treat the construction funds same as before? Judy, this should not change any of the Restore rules that were in place or formula in place or guidelines in place for Restore, except that if you were deemed ineligible or if they gave you less money than you otherwise would have because of an SBA loan or approval, that should not count against you. Joey, why is permanently disability taken away or reduced? Joey, I think your question, I can't see the rest of it, is not applying to duplication of benefits, which we're trying to cover right now. Other questions, please give our office a call or We're going to be doing a Facebook Live this week, and I'm happy to take any questions that y'all have. Gwen, if we're denied, should we call them again? No, Gwen, they should have you in the system. Shorty and Sharon, I think I answered that one. Monique, can someone summarize what he said? Monique, what I said is that we have a fix for duplication of benefits. If you were discounted under Restore program or deemed ineligible because you were approved or received an SBA loan, then that ineligibility should be taken away, and they should treat you as though you never even applied for an SBA loan. Sean, thank you, Congressman, for your persistence. You bet. Blake. Clarifying the revised Restore Louisiana duplication of benefits issue. And I think you're responding to Monique. Let's see, so I think Jordan is answering the question. Blake is answering the question. Jackie, is it still considered duplication of benefits if you use NFIP funds to pay off mortgage to demo and rebuild? Jackie, this applies, again, primarily to the duplication of benefits issue under the SBA loan. That's what we were targeting. I think that's the shortest way of answering it. If you didn't get full funding under an NFIP because that program didn't treat you fairly, then let us know, and happy to work with you directly to see if we can figure out some Restore program eligibility or other funds to help out. Okay, Misty, we're good now. Looks like it. All right, Monique's thanking Blake. Gwen, okay, it's no longer applied. Do we call back to get Restore? So Gwen, I think I answered that, but I think I answered that, Gwen, and that you don't have to call anybody. That if you're in the system of the Restore, you should be good. Let's see, Joe, hello, Joey. I think I answered that one, and happy to work with you, Joey. If you can give our office a call. Patricia, thanks for your continued efforts, and thank you. Appreciate you being on. Maria, do we need to reapply again? No, Maria. If you were rejected already through Restore, you don't need to reapply. You should be in the system. And again, I'm going to ask Restore to communicate with the public about this change and how they're going to handle it. Crystal, yes, we are put back in, or do we go through whole Restore process? So Crystal, if you were deemed ineligible by Restore because you applied for an SBA loan or took one, you should not have to reapply. If you were denied by Restore, you do not have to apply. They should reach out to you. Alicia, do we pay taxes on Restore grants? I believe the state, the answer is no. I believe the state passed a law on this, and because it is offsetting a loss, you should not, but I do want to urge you to consult your tax advisor. Melissa, what's the time frame we can expect? And Melissa, I think best case scenario is likely around the middle of March to actually get money. Brittany, if we sell the house that flooded, are we no longer eligible? And again, Brittany, the deal there is that if you were rejected as a result of duplication of benefits, then you should be eligible for that portion now. Judy, how can we file a disagreement about how our construction fund was handled? I can't see the rest of it, Judy, but it says we were forced to take, and I'm not sure if it say take a loan or what it says it cuts off there, but Judy, if you were having a problem with construction funds that Restore was managing, meaning if you use their contractor or something along those lines, please let us know and let's see if we can help you out. Happy to help. Misty, I appreciate you answering. Joey, Chad, please answer time frame and taxes on grant. I think I hit both of those, Chad. Arthur, state comes up with $300 million surplus. We got, how about if I change that word to mistreated, and raised our taxes, and yep, I'm gonna avoid that one for right now, and we'll be doing a Facebook Live again later this week. Tom, I'd love to know the answer to that question myself. Melissa, process now. If President signs into law, why and what does Governor Evers have to request? All right. So Melissa, under the provision, what it says is that the president may grant a waiver to duplication of benefits if a governor makes a request on behalf of a group of people or an individual, and then it says that the president has 45 days to act. So the governor has to make the request to the president. The president has 45 days to act on the request, but it explicitly says, notwithstanding the relevant sections, the president may not determine that a loan is a duplication of assistance. So it does not allow the president to exercise discretion on that issue. So I hope that makes sense. Nancy, the state fined, added penalties, and took interest from my redo of my 2016 taxes. Nancy, I don't know your specific tax situation, but there was a state law that was changed. I believe it was Representative Ted James did it, that did, depending on your situation, that did eliminate taxes for certain flood funds. And so, again, I'd urge you to consult your tax advisor for your specific situation. We'd be happy to share with you the law or connect you with the right folks at IRS or the State Department of Revenue. Let's see, so Judy, please talk to Restore about why they kept most of my and others' construction funds. And Judy, that I'm not sure why they would have kept your construction funds. That doesn't seem to make sense, but please reach out to us and let us see if we can help out. Laurie, if you received an award letter from Restore, in our case 0, do you need to do anything else? Laurie, you should not. If you were deemed ineligible because of your loan. Yeah, Joey, I know you're asking about SSI. Please reach out to us and let's see if we can help. Charles, the only way my home gets fixed is this duplication of benefits gets fixed. Then you're saying parish government, actually, and I can't see. So Charles, this should get fixed, and you should be good, and I'm hoping it will. And if not, please let us know. I'd love to see if we can work with you. Judy, I think I answered yours. Robert, got it. Judy, thank you. Dee Dee, are you going to run for governor? No, I don't have plans to run for governor. Julie, same here, thank you. Cindy, thank you. Sheila, we need him nationally, not locally. You know, my wife says the same thing, Judy, that we need him nationally, not locally, but I'm convinced it's because that means I'm out of town. I don't know. Chris, are you watching? What do you think?
She is.
She's watching?
Mm-hmm.
All right. Chris, are you going to answer that? Love you, honey. If anybody has a sleep bag and an extra pillow, that'd be great. I have a feeling I'm on the couch today. Brenda, we're disabled to have good credit because of that. We're stuck with an SBA loan. So again, Brenda, if any portion of your ineligibility that was in place, Coco's over here doing cartwheels, of your ineligibility or reduced grant as it was a result of that loan, that should be eliminated now, Brenda, and you should be eligible. John, great news. How long after the president signs a bill will we hear from Restore Louisiana? John, I'm meeting with him on Tuesday morning. I am going to be urging them to communicate with the public as quickly as possible. They're probably going to be looking for a little bit of guidance from us and from HUD on this, or from the White House. So we are going to be working to get all this information out. I would say that in the next few weeks, we should get, Restore should be issuing communications out to the public. Marcia, thanks again for all your hard work. Marcia, you bet. Tony, can you still apply for Restore? We had flood insurance, but fixed our house at 99% of the, maybe you would say, value. And Tony, if we're going to ask Restore to basically extend the application period. So I'll just say that. I don't know if you've applied for the survey or not, the initial survey back in May or many months after. Let's see. Judy, Restore kept a lot of people's construction funds due to communication and lack of training of Restore. So again, Judy, if they violated policy or didn't treat you fairly, then my goodness, let's make sure that we're working to try and help. Brittany, if we sell our house, we eligible for Restore. I think I answered that, Brittany, that if this addresses the duplication of benefits. So if you were denied as a result of duplication of benefits, you should be made eligible. Tina, can those that never applied before apply now? As many of the cut their losses or use money out of pocket. So Tina, the deal is that you have until October 1st to apply. And so you do have a window to apply. We are going to ask Restore to, basically reopen eligibility. Amy's laughing out loud, but I don't know why. Judy says Texas didn't have restriction conditions that Louisiana had, I was told, and it cuts off when Katrina hit something. But Judy, Texas should be operating under effectively the same rules. Renee, what will determine the amount of grant for each case? Renee, there are a number of considerations there. There are a number of considerations there, but if you applied for Restore, they probably told you what you were eligible for, but then told you that you were getting a haircut, or there was some degree of ineligibility or prohibition because of the SBA loan, and so that amount of ineligibility should be eliminated now. Adrian, November. Couple months off, buddy. John, why is Senator Cassidy claiming credit for this latest duplication news? John, look, the good news is that this is done. John, this was our bill that we introduced with Congressman Cedric Richmond. We passed it through the House in December of last year. We passed it through the House in December of last year. We passed it through the House again in April of this year, and we did that, and we've been waiting on the Senate. I know that Senator Cassidy supports this policy, and I know that Senator Kennedy does as well, and I know that they were engaging in the Senate. So, Tracy, thanks for everything you've done. Thank you. Frida, need to get off, and prep for class. Thanks for your efforts sometime down the road when NFIP discussions something. And so Frida, you go prep for class. Happy to talk about NFIP in the future, and appreciate you being on. Carrie says Lutcher. Robbie, per Restore's last pipeline weekly report, there are 3,200 applications not submitted. And it says, why is Restore something? And Robbie, I can't see the rest of it, but Robbie, I think that Restore, you're eligible to apply through October 1st, and so you have that time to apply, and so look what I'm looking at. You're going to need to fix that, probably, Paul. All right. So you should be able to apply through October 1st, but again, we're going to ask them to, kind of open up eligibility and make sure that that those folks are eligible for assistance. There still is an awful lot of money, hundreds of millions of dollars available at the Restore program. Kim should be getting 100% since the governor changed that recently. Kim, for the reimbursement, they did make changes and did increase the percentage of reimbursement. And so, look, I don't know all the details of your specific case, but if you were in that program that was only reimbursed, what was it, Paul, 50% initially, and then they changed it, then you should be eligible for the higher portion. But I don't want to pretend to understand your specific case, but it sounds like you should be. John is watching. John, hi there. We're getting everything right. That's right. Let's see. Jenny, can you please repeat your phone number? You bet. 225-442-1731. 225-442-1731. That's my personal cell phone. If you can keep that between us, that'd be great. I don't want to get these crazy text messages. Just kidding, Jenny. That's the office number. All right. Let's see. Missy is telling somebody else. Brittany, I'm his niece. Yep, you bet. Thanks, Brittany. Elizabeth, are you familiar with at all with SSI? Yes, I am. Elizabeth, again, tonight we're covering duplication of benefits. And so we're happy to cover other things. We're going to do another Facebook Live this week, and I will cover whatever comes up. Happy to do that. But I also, our phone number here, 225-442-1731. So if you're having a problem with SSI, please give our office a call and let's see what we can do to help out. Ruben, thank you for your hard work. Keep up the good work. Thank you. Mary, off topic, are you running for re-election? Haven't seen anything about an election. There's an election in November, and I think I can say that yes, we have announced that we're running. John, thanks, John. Julie, I have more damages than FEMA inspectors saw. I have receipts and photos for them to see for proof. Julie, we've had some success working with the Restore program and with the National Flood Insurance Program whenever people's damages have been lowballed by some of the inspectors. So what we've been able to do is working with y'all, getting estimates from other contractors, taking those back to FEMA, back to Restore program, and saying, hey, look, we had contractors come in and are clearly showing that the FEMA or Restore program estimates are lowballed, and so I'm happy to work with you. And if you have some proof, then let's work with you and see what we can do to help get that clarified. Brenda, what is this SBA grant you're talking about? Ooh, did I screw that up? Did I say grant?
I think so.
All right, so Brenda, if I screwed it up, I apologize, but SBA offers loans for flood victims, and so maybe you applied for an SBA loan. There is a grant program that is funded through the Restore Louisiana program, that is funded through a grant from the United States Department of Housing and Urban Development that we appropriated back in September of 2017, 2016, December of 2016, and April of 2017. So those funds have been made available to the state, $1.7 billion. They're administering that program as a grant program to flood victims. So if I said an SBA grant, I apologize, I misspoke. Tara, thank you for all you're doing. Help more people receive the help they all need, including my family. So you got it. And hey, one thing I didn't mention that's sort of related to duplication of benefits issue. I know that the Restore program, gosh, the AC is driving me out. The Restore program, I know that they basically said that if you just had minimal amount of water in your home, then they deemed you ineligible. Because of the amount of money they have left in the bank, we are asking them basically to eliminate that, so if you got 6 inches of water in your home, they may tell you that you're not eligible. We are asking them to revisit that because of the amount of money they have left in the program. So basically saying, look, lower that threshold. If people got damages, my goodness, let's see how we can help them out with this program.
You need more water?
Hmm?
Need more water?
Tara, thanks for all you're doing. Hopefully people, yeah, I said that. Linda, You're saying when FEMA told us we would get 33,000 and only got 16, we get the difference. Linda, so the FEMA program was a FEMA program early on where you were supposed to get up to $33,000. If they told you that and they only gave you 16, then happy to work with you and see if we can figure that out. If you applied for funds through the Restore Louisiana program and were told you were ineligible, or they gave your grant award a big haircut because you got an SBA loan, this fix should eliminate that haircut. Barbara, thank you, Congressman, for your undying efforts concerning duplication of benefits. You bet. Hey, Paul, look at that, posting the phone number. Thank you. Valerie, do we need to recontact Restore, or will they automatically recalculate? Valerie, they should automatically recalculate. Julie, thank you for your help, even though you're not in my district. I appreciate you even getting back to me. And Julie, you bet. Happy to help out. Dana, thanks for working so hard for us. You bet. Jaleese, looks like the letter says I did not stay in contact with Restore program. Yeah, Jaleese, that doesn't seem to make sense. Give us a call. Let us see if we can figure that out. Again, 225-442-1731. Nicholas, was the fix actually signed, meaning is the Stafford Act now permanently changed? Nicholas, no. We're voting on this bill this week because we have done the negotiations with the House, the Senate, and the White House. Again, 99% chance this is going to pass. This is going to get signed into law. I do not see any obstacles anymore. I think we've eliminated all of them finally. So this should become law, and Stafford Act will be amended. Now, I mentioned this earlier. I want to readdress this. This was not our provision, but this was added in the negotiations with the Senate. I do not support it, but what this does is it makes the eligibility for disasters that occur between January 1st, 2016 and December 1st, 2020, December 31st, 2021. So it does sunset after 5 years. So if your disaster happened between January 1st, 2016 and December 31st, 2021, then you should be eligible for this fix. Now, Congress can come back in the future and change that eligibility, the sunset period. We do have a report in here that we require that will provide Congress with more information to where we can make kind of informed changes moving forward. Becky, thank you all you're doing for us. You bet. Julie, why the angry face and the laughing face? This is a legitimate question. Julie, if I did that, that was an accident. I'm very sorry if I did a face on your question, and I don't know what your question was, but I apologize if I did that. When I'm pressing them, sometimes those little things light up. Bob, if we took out an SBA loan because FEMA told us that this was the only way we'd get more money, I can't see the rest of your question, Bob, but I'm assuming you're asking if you applied for SBA because FEMA told you you had to, and then you were then told under Restore program that you didn't get money or weren't eligible because of that loan application, would this fix address your situation and make you eligible for a grant now through the Restore program if you were ineligible because of the loan? That's correct. If any amount of money that you were deemed ineligible for the reason that you took the loan or applied for the loan, that ineligibility should be removed. Nicholas, NFIP will probably be discounted from total Restore program funds. If you receive $20,000 from NFIP, and I can't see the rest of it, but Nicholas, that would be a duplication if you both got money from NFIP and from Restore for the same losses. So if you had $20,000 in losses and NFIP paid it, you would not be given another $20,000 on top of it from Restore. Rebecca, how long before Restore starts contacting moving forward with those of us who were denied because of DOB? Rebecca, so it should be in the next few weeks. We're going to be working with Restore on Tuesday about this very thing. He said mid-November. Thanks, Bob. Drake, How do I get benefits if I was rejected? Drake, if you were rejected because of the SBA loan or the loan application, you shouldn't have to do anything. You should be contacted by Restore. Susan, thanks for everything you've done for us. You bet, Susan, happy to help out. Is that Alice? Dallas? How do we get our Restore funds? So again, D. Alice Henderson, if you applied and were rejected, you should be in the Restore program database, which means that you should not have to do anything. They should be reaching out to you. If you have not applied, you have until October 1st to do so. Mary, God bless you and your family. Thank you very much. I appreciate that. You work tirelessly for us, and words can't express. And thank you, Mary. I appreciate it. Kathleen, any idea when the Corps will begin dredging Comeet River? Kathleen, I'm going to address other things this week when we have another Facebook Live. I'm trying to stick to duplication of benefits right now. Teresa, same to you. Rhonda, I was denied by Restore because I received SBA, but the amount they said I received was not what they something. Rhonda, so any amount that you were rejected or reduced as a result of the SBA loan or loan application or loan approval, that should no longer disqualify you. I can't see the rest of your question. I apologize. Renee, thanks for your hard work. You bet. Susan, my mother-in-law was approved for SBA, decided not to take it because she's on fixed income and used the FEMA process. So Susan, if your question, and that's all I can see, but Susan, if your question is that your mother was denied because she was approved for a loan through SBA but never even took the loan, then once again, that should not disqualify her anymore. She should now be deemed eligible because she had applied for the loan and was approved for it. The Restore program was telling people they were ineligible because they had that loan money that they potentially could go tap. So under this fix, that should no longer disqualify your mother-in-law. Tony, just tried to sign up and said deadline was July 20th. So Tony, the deadline for the survey was July 20th. The deadline for the application is October 1st. So we had been urging people that even if they believed they were ineligible because of duplication of benefits, we were urging people to take the survey and apply anyway. We are going to talk to Restore about opening up eligibility because of this change in law. So Tony, sit tight and just watch the press, watch our announcements as well. We're going to see if we can make some changes there. Michael, Restore says 3 feet of elevation is included in the reconstruction grant on page 62 of the policy manual, and I can't see the rest of it, but Michael, if you're having a problem with Restore, please contact our office and we'll work with you. 225-442-1731. 225-442-1731. Is there a calculation of how much you may expect to get from Restore? Only took a small portion, I guess you're going to say, of the loan. So, Laurie, any amount that you had cut as a result of your SBA loan approval, you should no longer be ineligible for whatever cut the Restore program applied to you. David, so is anything done to help with the payment to SBA, or did nothing get done to help the SBA? So that's all I can see, David. I see you wrote more. Let's see. Help wanted. Okay, so David, hey Paul, David has a email address on there. Let's go ahead and grab that. We'll get James to reach out to you. David, we got your email. We'll reach out to you and see if we can figure out your situation here. I can't see the rest of your question, but I'm trying to see if I can figure out what you were saying.
I can't get it to
is anything done to help with the payment? So David, look, our hope is that once you get if you were deemed ineligible for a Restore grant and now you get one, our hope is that you can now decide to take that money and pay your SBA loan back. I'm not sure if that's what you're talking about or not, but I hope that is helpful. Was that your head, Coco, hitting? Yeah. So that shaking of the camera was Coco's head hitting the table. Monique, we're told we're not eligible because we had insurance, or insurance wasn't enough to, I assume you're gonna say, cover all your costs. So Monique, again, call our office. Let's see if we can work with you and with the flood insurance program, because we had a number of people who the adjusters came in and did too low of a number. We were able to work with NFIP using other estimates and getting that addressed. Tony, I took the minimum SBA loan to refurbish my house. Had insurance for structure only. Do I qualify? So, Tony, I can't answer entirely because I don't know all your details, but what I can say is the way that Restore should look at you now is they would look at you as though you had no SBA loan at all. No loan, no approval, no eligibility through SBA at all. And they should look at you and treat you that way. So any haircut or discount Restore applied to you because of the SBA loan approval or loan that you took should no longer be considered. Nicholas, thank you, appreciate it. Bob, I was eligible. I had a $24,000 SBA loan. Restore took that. Will I get that back?
That was his question.
I guess, but I'm not sure I understand it, because Restore wouldn't have taken his loan. So, if Bob, if what you're saying is that the Restore program said that you weren't eligible for that $24,000 because you had that loan, then that is correct. They should no longer consider the $24,000 loan. So I hope that made sense. If you were approved for a $50,000 loan but only took 24 of it, what they've been doing is they've been discounting for the whole $50,000, and so they should no longer discount for the $24,000, the $50,000, any of it. Rachel, my mother had to tear down her house, got a mobile home. She continues to get run around. Rachel, reach out to us, please. Let us see if we can help out. Monique, also our home had to be demolished. And Monique, I'm sorry about that loss, but I hope this does help to make you whole. Rhonda, Restore said I received $28,000 above what I actually got. How will that work? I'm not sure I understand that. So let's make up numbers here. So let's say that if you got 30,000, but then Restore said you got 58,000, then what we would need to do is work with Restore to show them that you did not get 58,000, but in fact got 30. So happy to work with you on that and see what we can work with you. Charlotte, what is being done when the duplication of benefits has nothing to do with SBA? Charlotte, I'm not sure what your situation is there. I can say that the law does not specifically mention the SBA loan. It potentially could address other duplication issues as well. We certainly were focusing on the SBA issue, but I'm not aware of what other, or I'm not positive. If you got a grant through FEMA early on, and then Restore told you were ineligible because you had 30,000 in damages and you got a grant from FEMA early on, I don't think you should also get a $30,000 grant from Restore. I don't want people to profit off of this. We want you to be able to get back in your home and help rebuild. So I don't consider that a duplication of benefits. If you got the money you needed through FEMA early on, and then Restore told you that you couldn't get money again because FEMA already made you whole or got you back in your home, I don't consider that duplication of benefits. I would view that as an effort to profit from a disaster, and I certainly don't want that to happen. Peggy, good night, Coco. Peggy Coco's got a big smile on her face. Barbara, will this also apply to a homeowner who received an SBA loan to be used on his flooded home, even though, and I can't read the rest of it. Barbara, I'm sorry, I can't read the rest of it. It's only showing me it says even though, and it stops. If you can just give me a shorter one, or maybe type it out the rest of it again. Monique, we have to rebuild and are 11 feet high. We got zero help. Monique, again, I don't know your specific details, but I'd urge you, apply to Restore if you've not done that. Rachel, please repeat your phone number at 225-442-1731. So again, 442-1731. Monique, thanks. I'll contact Restore again. Thanks for all you're doing. You bet. David, sorry I didn't understand. I just want to know if I can get money from Restore to help pay. David, I'm sorry. It stopped right there. If you can just give me a shorter snippet. Amanda, hope all's well. We need a hard push to HUD for interpretation. Otherwise, we'll be waiting forever. So Amanda, the way this is, sorry, the way this is written is that it's actually going to be codified under Stafford Act or in FEMA statutes. So this would amend Section 312 of the Stafford Act that FEMA administers. It gives the authority to the president, and so the president would be the one making this, opening up this eligibility to the CDBG program, the Restore program. So the way that I view this is that HUD would not be involved in a decision necessarily. Obviously, they would have to give the green light, but when the president gives the green light, then that pretty much is the green light, because the president's obviously the boss of the HUD secretary. Let's see, Bob, at closing I had to sign over 24,000 SBA and 10,000 FEMA money. Bob, I right off, I can't think of a scenario where that would have to happen. But I say it again, please just give us a call. Let's learn more information about your situation, and if something wrong was done, we'll certainly work with HUD or Restore or whoever, or FEMA, to see if we can fix it. Betty, they only took out what we paid FEMA from Restore. I assume what took out what we paid FEMA.
Yeah, Restore grant minus what they received in FEMA.
Yeah, if that's the case, so let's just make up a scenario here. Let's say that you had 50,000 in flood damages, and you got a $10,000 grant from FEMA right off the bat. As y'all recall, FEMA was offering grants up to $33,000. So you got a $10,000 grant. Gosh, Coco, we didn't need to get you to bed, huh? You got a $30,000. Try that again. You had $50,000 in damages. You got a $10,000 grant through FEMA out of that overall $33,000. So whenever Restore calculates your benefits, they are going to reduce that $10,000 grant that you received through FEMA because you already got the money. So I'll say it again. I don't have any desire for anyone to profit from this. We want you to be able to get back in your home. Diane. It says you're following. Monique, let's see, Julie. All I want to do is put back before the flood, and certainly I'd like for that to happen as well. We're trying to, again, not necessarily get everybody back for every set, but certainly getting you back on your feet and getting you back in your home. Lindsay, will eligibility depend upon income level at all? Lindsay, so what this fix does is it's strictly about the eligibility under the Restore program. If you were cut or deemed ineligible as a result of an SBA loan, then that will no longer cut or disqualify you. Stephen, thank you. Barbara, will this apply to a homeowner with an SBA who is renting out his house? Barbara, once again, if you were deemed ineligible or got a haircut because of an SBA loan, if Restore told you that, it would eliminate that. This program is designed for primary residents. So David, can we get money from Restore to help pay off SBA loan from Restore? David, we did it. I'm sorry that took so long. So David, that is my preference, that you have the eligibility. So you got a $30,000 loan from SBA. You now can get a $30,000 grant from Restore. Should you be able to use that to pay off your loan? If that's what you want to do, that would be my preference. There is a HUD policy document from 2011 that says that you can't use that money to pay it off directly. I'll say it again. If you get that check from Restore and you put it in your bank account, I don't know how anybody stops you from being able to pay your loan off, but that's something that we've been working on, and I think that should be a first of all, I think that people need to certainly pay back their SBA loan and need to comply with that commitment that you made, but I think that you should be able to do early payoff would be my preference. Stacy, does this include for people who had insurance also? So Stacy, any amount that was considered a duplication of benefits because of an SBA loan, that's what this is focused on. Arguably as the law is written, it does not, it could be for other things, but our real focus here was SBA. I don't want anybody to profit from a disaster like this. Judy, thanks and God bless, and thank you very much. I appreciate that. Darren, what about people who had no choice but to sell their gutted home at a loss? And so Darren, if you applied for a loan through the SBA and you didn't take it, or you took it and that just you weren't able, maybe you applied for a loan and you were approved, but you looked at the repayment and said, gosh, I've got a mortgage, I've got to buy a new car, so I've got a car payment, I can't afford to pay this SBA loan payment as well. I know I've been approved, but I can't afford to pay it. So then the Restore program took the fact that you were approved for a loan and said you can't get a grant from us. That should no longer apply, meaning you should now be eligible. But look, I don't know the details of everyone's exact situation, Darren, so if you give us a call, we'll certainly see if we can get you the information that you need, and once we learn more about your situation. Nancy, we were denied due to SBA. What do we have to redo our application? Nancy, no. Restore has you in the database. They should contact you over the next few weeks and take care of it. David, thank you, and to your group, you bet. We got a great group of people. Julie, sounds like you're getting sick. I don't think I'm getting sick. I was looking at the air conditioner right now, is set on 68, which I'm not sure why. It is very dry. The AC vent is right up above me pumping out, and I apologize for the water breaks. I'm not getting sick. I'm feeling great. Had a good run this morning. Almost got run over twice, but it was a good run otherwise. Nancy says thank you. Thanks, Paul. Katie says thank you. And Stacy, believe me, I'm not profiting. $286,000 in damages. Insurance paid $120 SBA, so you cut off. So it sounds like you got an SBA loan. So in this case, Stacy, it sounds like you would be eligible for Restore grant if that's the reason you were deemed ineligible, because you got an SBA loan or were approved for an SBA loan. So hope that makes sense. Wendy, yes, I thought I was wrapping up. Wendy, how long is it taking to receive a reimbursement after being denied because of an SBA loan? Wendy, we believe the time frame should be that the Restore program would be given approval by the middle of November. Because you're already in the database because you were denied, they should be able to transfer funds very quickly. We're going to be working with the program on on timelines on Tuesday. We're meeting with them on Tuesday. Julie, you need to take care of yourself so you can help us. You bet. I'm feeling good. Missy, thank you, Congressman. God bless for your tireless work, and thanks. And Missy, you're showing me the last comment, and I'm going to wrap up because I got to get Coco home. So look, thank you all very much for being on. We're going to do another Facebook Live this week. And so we'll answer other duplication of benefits questions. We'll also answer anything else that y'all want. We'll do one, I'm guessing some night this week. I need to look at the schedule and see when we can do one, but we'll be doing another one. So we can answer y'all's questions on other topics and give you an idea of some of the other things we're going to be working on this week. Also, love to tell y'all a little bit more about some of the other huge wins that are in this bill. We got a lot of other good stuff in there. I'll just say in closing, we're going to save our schools tens of millions of dollars in some of their flood recovery. That way they don't have to pay the money to FEMA. They can put the money back in the schools, back into students and education where we want it. We have an arbitration process where you can appeal to an independent entity instead of going back to FEMA, who rejected you the first time. They look at your application all over again and say no again, so that we can go to a separate entity. That's in the bill. The I-12 barrier walls in the bill.
Food banks.
What is it?
Food banks.
Oh yeah, food banks. Eligibility to reimburse food banks is in the bill. Submerged roads getting reimbursed. All sorts of good wins. So really excited to give y'all an update on some of the other things that are in there. But look, thanks again. I appreciate y'all being on tonight. It's Coco's bedtime, and she is here at the office with me. I need to get her home. So I appreciate y'all being on. I want to ask one more time, if you could go down below and hit share, I'd appreciate it. It just helps us connect and get this message out on duplication of benefits with other folks who are having this same problem. We will be voting on this bill this week in the House and in the Senate. I expect it to go to the president by around this weekend, so the president will be able to sign this into law. Should be around this coming weekend, so next Saturday, Sunday time frame, and then we're going to immediately get rolling. We're going to be working with the governor to get the request in and get you all the money as quickly as possible. So hope we get y'all back on your feet. I'm very sorry this has taken as long as it has. We certainly did our job in the House, and want to wish y'all a great night. God bless, and please let us know what else we can do to help. Take care. Coco, you want to come?